and then they end up. I
God.
don't even know who the hell made it.
Sony Interactive actually made this game.
Leave
So, what's up, everybody? I got Warwu1f here with me as usual.
And again, he goes live without even telling me. I love it.
Well, I told you we can knock this out in like 15 minutes. So yeah, what you are seeing currently, gameplay-wise, is apparently if this is a remaster. Don't get me wrong on that. I just found out when I booted it up, since I beat it, that apparently you can go back and you get a new game mode called Old Game, which apparently we can show it off what it used to look like.
Oh yeah, this is the original. Look at that.
Yep, the old, really blocky, pixelated.
I mean, to be all the way honest, it's like 300, 400 megabytes for this.
Yeah.
The full game on the PS1. So it's not that big of a file to add into there.
Yeah. I mean, like, oof. What the hell was it? I got hung up on something right there.
That's pretty cool. It's basically emulating the ISO. That's actually really cool. But they added that in there.
Oh, the camera is like really all over the place.
Where do you even begin with this? So this was a launch title, I do believe, for the PlayStation 1. This is why I didn't want you to go live just quite yet, because I was going to try and figure out a couple of things.
Oh yeah.
I do believe this was a launch title for the PS1, if I remember correctly. Indie developer, Millennium Interactive in Cambridge.
Yeah, I played. The only experience I really got off this game was back on the old PlayStation demo disc. So you mean you got like the first couple of levels?
Yeah, same here. I do believe it was the PlayStation Underground demo disc that came with the original PS1, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah. I'll rip through this first level on this, and then I'll flip it back over to the remaster.
For whatever reason, this game, so what you're seeing here, this did not sell quite as well as the Crash Bandicoot and Spyros of the same time frame. I remember this game being out like around the same. During development, the Cambridge team played beta versions of successful platforms such as Super Mario 64 and Crash Bandicoot, which helped them understand how they might solve some challenges in building a 3D action game. So you gotta think, this game came from the era where something like a Crash Bandicoot was just barely breaking the mold of like what a platform was going to be. There wasn't too many games, like a handful of games were doing this like 3D environment stuff where you actually play around. I remember like this Crash, Spyro, like some of the Final Fantasies were doing it, but not in like a full 3D effect. They were still basically just the pixels, the pixel art on the screen, like you see in most remasters nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And they tried, like, this was an indie studio, they tried to make a mascot for the PS1, but Spyro and Crash were just, especially Crash Bandicoot was just
they definitely took over.
Nothing was beating Crash Bandicoot back in the day. Like that fucking Bandicoot was the most popular thing. Even Mario and Sonic and all that, they were shaking their boots, because that was the direct competition, but this game helped with competition against your Super Mario. So, of course, again, this is like the forgotten series. Let's see how many. So they released this in '98. If you think about it, I do believe the original that was. So this was not a launch title. Sorry, I thought it was. This came out actually 2 years into the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, since I'm gonna say launch titles would have probably been like your Crash and stuff like that. Like Ridge. I don't even think Ridge Racer came out until later.
I believe Ridge Racer. Let me actually see the launch titles for it. Wait a second. Oh God. I'm trying to find the PlayStation launch lineup real quick. And it was like, I want to say it was Ridge Racer, Crash 2. Because Crash 1 was Japanese only. Yeah, trying to find Gran Turismo wants with it. Trying to think of anything else, but oh yeah, there we go. Gran Turismo, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Second, Final Fantasy would like to launch.
Yeah.
And that first so not day one, but like first few apparently 98 was re-released on PlayStation Network. Right. The original launched in 98, then there was a re-release in 2007, and a direct sequel, MediEvil 2, was released in 2000. First game received 2 remakes, MediEvil Resurrection and a portable version. But they've done, I mean, for some reason, so this game has gone through a couple different facelifts and remasterings, but it's never caught on as like a regular series.
Yeah, it's basically an emulator. It's just all like, oh, don't replay the dang graveyard.
I mean, Sony owns the license, they haven't done too much with it, and come out even on the PlayStation Classic, which is, that's one of those weird things with MediEvil. Like, it's always there, but they never do anything with it.
How do I? Oh my god, I'm trying to figure out how to back out and go back to the main menu without, like, completely backing out of the game.
Oh, okay. Interesting thing I just came across here. So, the studio that made MediEvil is actually the sister studio to Guerrilla Games. It's got pretty much the same logo on it, too. And Guerrilla Games, I'm going to name Guerrilla Cambridge. Okay, so this development team basically is working on Guerrilla Games stuff. So, Horizon and Killzone and all that stuff over the years. They shut this development team down in 2017. Yeah. So so it looks like the original team worked on this remaster, and yeah, and then that's pretty much been the last of the MediEvil stuff that they actually worked on. One final remaster of this game.
There we go. I figured it out. Yeah, I mean, when I saw it originally coming out back a couple of years ago when they remastered it, I think Kevin got a hold of it and we were playing it, and then they brought it over because if you guys yourself want to check this out, relive the good old days.
It's usually on sale on the PlayStation Now. Right?
It's actually on PlayStation Now right now.
Oh.
In a time
so you can go check it out for free.
Definitely. So so the original had the old school controls on it, kind of like your Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider mixed with a little bit of Spyro controls in there.
Yeah, you could definitely feel the age.
Yeah,
in that one. I mean, the camera was all over the damn place. Dan felt a little squirrely.
Lock it behind you. So now this new one, I can't remember. I do believe it's totally revamped control system to make it more modern.
Yeah, it definitely. It's definitely got a way better feel to it. So there, we give you a little taste of the old school. So you guys are all just like, "This ain't the remastered! Oh my God, what are you playing? Oh my eyes!" No, it is. It's just like I said. You beat the game. Apparently, you get the.
If you're a true aficionado of gaming, though, those old graphics are like, oh, that's actually really cool seeing that again. If you're a true aficionado.
Yeah. So here it is in the remastered. Which I'm just gonna go ahead because Wolf has like no intentions of beating this, so I'm just gonna run through the final level real quick while we continue to talk.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
If you don't want to see the spoilers, then don't watch this video. Go beat the game first. Then come back and watch this video. You'll probably forget about this video by that time, but
probably.
Yeah. He had a great game plan playing the last level in the game.
I mean, I could back out and play a different level. I mean, actually, it'd probably be smarter, to tell you the truth. You can see already everything. It's like everything's like smoothed out a hell of a lot more already. That little tidbit there.
If you played like the Crash and Spiral remasters, it's really on that same level. You'll notice too that the the world map, the warp map and everything, very similar to Crash Bandicoot. This was like one of the staples of the era, of the old school era. We still have it nowadays too, but almost all your games had this. It was like a world map, and then you load into a level. World map, load into a level. The reason being because the PlayStation had, well, every console back then had a very small amount of RAM to it. So
oops, I don't want to go to Dan's crypt, but we'll run through it real quick, so you can get a better look at how everything changed.
To put this also in perspective for the young ones out there, this game came out before the DualShock came out.
Yeah, so you didn't have all the vibrations. I mean, look.
Like, Rumble wasn't even a feature back then. It was just maybe, it was like not even analog sticks, okay? The only console that had analog sticks was the N64 at the time. That had one.
And as you can see here, I mean, they really did smooth everything out a lot better. I mean, look at Sir Dan. He looks. Get the damn statue out of the way. Get a better view at him. He looks.
He's got way more animation to him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
actually got like facial expressions.
Yep.
There's an animation on the sword.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's basically the same controls as it was back in the day. It's just everything's smoother. Oh yeah, you do get the option to you can have 2 weapons set up instead of just one.
So the major change to the movement system would be the original would be a grid-based system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you press forward, you're going forward ahead like a square, a step forward. And this you're basically on free roam. So this is a brand new engine and everything that's being made.
And it's definitely he definitely feels a hell of a lot less squirrely.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel like you're in a race car driving on a wet street with bald tires. To put it in perspective.
Whoa. Okay. First design proposal for the game had the working title Dead Man Dan. It was described initially as a fusion of Capcom's Ghosts and Goblins combined with the art style of Tim Burton's Night Before Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely see that.
Definitely. So, and then I'm just running back to the same exact level that I did there on the old version. So you can see the difference. I'm
guessing this is made on Unity. I would say this is probably made on Unity. It kind of has that art style vibe of it. Not quite sure, but yeah, that's the reason why. The controls are way more smooth, and the camera system is working way better.
Like when I stop, he stops. Well, he does a little slide, but
yeah,
you get the idea. Wait, did I got turned around.
Not to mention, it's also like the analog stick support, where back in the day,
it's just D-pad support.
D-pad.
Yep. Before.
That's how you know somebody actually is from back in the day too. It's like when you're seeing them play a game like this, if they're not using a D-pad. Because normally us 90s kids, we go boom right over the D-pad. Like Crash Bandicoot. If you're using an analog stick for Crash Bandicoot, you're doing it wrong.
That could explain why I was having issues with it.
Yeah, those games are definitely like it's just I don't know. For me, because I grew up for like 20 years playing Crash Bandicoot on the D-pad, I
always thought it kind of funny too. If you stand still and you get the camera to his back, he just like cranks his head around backwards to look at you. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
That's
the zombies.
That's one of those things from back in the day. That's one of those Easter eggs. If you stand still in the old school games back in the day, there's almost always the idle animation.
Yeah.
As you used to hear about. Like, even Sonic back in the day he'd tap his foot and start looking at you, like, what's going on here?
I don't know, do we still got idle animation in this one?
Like, Crash Bandicoot starts playing around with his yo-yo. Like, actually playing around with a yo-yo. Or a Wampa fruit or whatnot. Spyro starts sneezing fire. Tomb Raider, I don't know what Tomb Raider does. I don't think she actually has one. Lara Croft. It seems like he's just kind of checking out his environment. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, okay, he's taking a little breather.
You just gotta shift it around.
It's like, can we get on with the show now?
Let's go.
What was that? Oh, whew.
Yeah, you also can probably notice in the animation with the zombies too. It's not all that they don't look stiff.
It's, yeah, I mean, extra, you know, that's one of those things. I don't know the development behind this, if they had to build it from the ground up, or if they had some of the source code or whatever, because that goes a long way. If they have source code and they have the original, like, batch files and everything, they can actually go in and figure out, like, how, so if there's this jump, how far does the jump go, you know, how high does the jump go, because that plays a lot in with the puzzles and everything, that's, you know, that's
Yeah, I mean,
the game.
it's like sit back here where the guys aren't aggroed, and you can just see him as he's coming up to me. He acts much more, you know, zombie-like. You would expect, like, cartoonish zombies to be.
Yeah, because that was one of the things with actually Crash Bandicoot. They had to Spyro on the Reignited trilogy. They didn't have any of the source code because Japan, they threw all the source code out back then, and like all the old Final Fantasies, like the original pixel remasters and everything, they had to rebuild all that stuff from scratch. Anything that was from like 20 years ago, that is from
Of
Japan
course,
Studios,
you still got the classic.
there's no source code.
The classic weapon everybody loved. The fact that you take you rip your arm off and use it as a weapon.
start repeating them upside the head with your arm.
I always thought that was great.
That's one of those crazy things, though. Is like they basically reverse engineer the original game, rebuild it inside the newer engine, and this is what you get. Is a very you know, polished up looking.
Yeah, very, very polished, very smooth. Controls are, again, a lot smoother. Everything's, you know, I could say everything's a little bit, I wouldn't even say simplified, because the game was pretty simplified back in the day. I mean,
Well, it's a PS1 game. What do you expect?
I mean, it just definitely does. It looks better, in my opinion. It was definitely fun to run back through this game. I even went through and got the platinum on it just because I could.
Yeah, I mean
it's a pretty simple platinum. I mean, if you got the time to put into the game, it would only probably take you a couple days.
I mean, this is
to knock it out and get the platinum.
This game is from the era of where you know, the games were like, it's a kid's game. How hard can it be?
Yeah, exactly.
And then everybody started figuring out, like, oh.
But I mean, it's good. It's good. I got really nothing bad to say about this game.
Huh.
I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, relived some childhood days of the PS. You know, the old PS1.
Again, too, it's hard to say whether or not it was because of sales, or if it's just that they didn't know really what to do else with this. For some reasons, like, you know, they have a good seller, but they don't do anything with it.
I mean,
it's on that list of, like, why is Sony not doing anything with this? And that was
exactly. This is one of their old school titles. They brought it back from the dead. Punny. No pun intended there, but it kind of happened.
Oh, so punny.
But yeah, it definitely feels like, I mean, they could make another game of it, like make a MediEvil 2. I mean, yeah, the ending pretty much sums it up. Like, okay, it was a
They
one
did,
and done. They don't really leave it open for another title.
But they made it a MediEvil 2 according to this.
They?
In
Can I just
2000. So tail end of PS1, they made a MediEvil 2.
Oh.
That was made by the same studio before they were acquired up as Guerrilla Games. So basically, MediEvil died so Killzone could be made. In a way. They still hold the license rights. And the fact that this, like, MediEvil didn't show up on the PlayStation Classic, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
that's the only thing that's been getting to me too as I go through this game. I thought, like, I had... Let me get a better angle on this. If it will let me. Okay, so you can kind of see that castle. Like, this is probably about the best angle I can get, because I can't turn it anymore. But there's this castle floating up there, up in the upper left corner there that you can see. Maybe I can go to the Crystal Caverns and show you. See, I thought that was going to be the very last level. But it's like, I don't know if it's just there, or it's like a level that they just never, that was set up there to do, but they just never incorporated it. So now it just sits there.
Yeah, it's probably
that's supposed to be like the Hall of Heroes.
They probably, well, it could be Hall of Heroes. I mean, it could be something that they just ran out of development time and they couldn't get it done.
True.
That could have easily been it too, because that happened a lot back in the day, where it was just like, you gotta pump this game out in 4 months. And it was like, this is not the NES and this is not the SNES. We can't do it in 4 months.
Exactly.
You have 6 then. It's like, oh great, nice. Especially when they were still trying to figure out like how the 3D stuff worked back in these days. So there was I mean, there's a lot of games that have like, where you're like, that should be something there, and it just never. Crash Bandicoot 1 had a level that they added to the Insane Trilogy that they never finished it up back in the day, and then we got it for free DLC. And it's like one of the absolute freaking hardest levels ever made for Crash Bandicoot.
Like, oh, you want more content? Here you go. Fuck you.
yeah, it was fun as all hell for us old school Crash Bandicoot guys. And everybody newer to the series are like, I don't know what I'm doing.
But I mean, I would. Me personally, going back through this game, actually being able to play it all the way through and stuff, and seeing what they did to it, and to make it look like it pop and everything, the humor in this game is pretty. It's there. It's got its moments where it's pretty. You got some funny stuff happening.
You know, it's 98 humor, so.
Yeah, so you're just gonna be like, okay.
It's also made for kids.
Yeah.
Like, you guys think it's 98. If you're a kid growing up around 98, like you know, I was probably 7 years old when this came out.
Oh jeez.
So it's like, this game would have been made for me.
Yeah. But my opinion would again, like, everything they've done to it, and finally having a chance to run through it, and then, you know, even, and the fact that what the real icing on the cake is the fact that once you beat the game, you can go back through it and you can play it in the old school mode. The old PlayStation mode, where, like, when I booted it up, it did the old PlayStation. Let me show you this real quick. But I'm just going to say that I can, honestly, this is going to be probably a first. I could probably give this about a solid 10 out of 10 for being a remaster.
I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. The game overall is like an 8. I mean, even for it being a classic game, you know, remaster aside, it's, you know, the game itself is that thing.
Let me show you this. This will
Sure.
bring back some memories for you old people. It even does that when you boot it up to the old game.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, I feel old now. I
have worn out the nostalgia on that chime so much, and I just still love it because, you know, I've been doing all my retro rewind nights and everything. It's like, yep. I remember that. And I know that sound. I love that sound. You're home when you hear that sound. But yeah, that's one of the things too. Is like you can see just how much they have up the CGI work on it and everything too. Of
Yep.
course, I don't know if they changed up any of the because that was one of the things I easily noticed out in Crash Bandicoot. They
There
actually
we go.
changed up like the voice actors and everything, of course. But they also changed up like some of the way the animations work.
Oh yeah, you can definitely tell the difference.
But apparently this is also so like a game like this will run on your Android, the original.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Like your phone nowadays is about is more powerful than a PS1.
So here's the old school opening cutscene. Oh geez.
This is this was old school animation. This is old school CGI right here. But again, like you need to look, you know, the people really do need to look at the old. If people are like, well, this game looks like a PS2 game or whatever, you know, that whole thing, where like, sure, there is some games like Stranger of Paradise looks like a fucking PS2 game. I will give you that. But you definitely should always be going back and like, you know, just recheck the roots every once in a while, and that's what this is doing really good. Since it is built in, you don't have to worry about emulation and this kind of stuff. It just works. It's a good thing of like to have people basically check themselves for a second of like, this is what it looked like back then. What the games look like now are way better, but of course, you know, there's always the exception to the rule where something still looks kind of trash.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're being summoned.
Yeah, of course. You know.
Well, I mean, we hit about the half-hour mark on this. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, with this one, we didn't have a lot to really go on about. I just wanted to.
Yeah. There's updated controls, updated visuals, just you know, the classic that they basically remade. So this is, well, it is, and this is one of these ones where everybody's like, it's a remake. I'm like, it's not really a remake. They didn't change it. It's a remaster, but they have remastered it into the newer engine.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people get in that argument over it. But yeah, it's a solid remaster. Absolutely. Will they do anything in the future with this series? Who knows? It's Guerrilla Games now. It's really up to them.
Yeah, the opening cutscene is so much different too.
The cool thing is, though, you
Comparison.
might be able to have like a reference to Zerdan in Horizon or something.
That would be cool.
Since it's the same team and everything. But yeah,
But
I don't think there's much else to say other than
that it was a great
go check out
game.
MediEvil.
Yeah, like I said, it's on. If you got PlayStation now, go pick it up, check it out.
Yeah, if you
So
like
it don't
this
take
game
long to
too,
beat. It's really easy.
If you like this game, go over
No
to
crazy
Twitter
ass combat
and,
mechanics.
Go to Twitter and fucking at PlayStation, at Sony, at Guerrilla Games, and be like, hey, what's up with MediEvil? And you know, do that, and then let them know that you want a new one made. That's the only way it would be made.
Yep.
So,
But yeah, that was it, guys. So thanks for checking this out and whatnot. I had some other ones planned up coming up. Wolf here will probably be streaming here in a little bit. And I guess that's the usual. So until next time, stay frosty. Alright.